It's 2023 already, and at Lead Heroes, we have a huge discount on our T65. That's our turning 65 leads, where you can get a prospect that is 2 to 5 months out from turning 65 for just $29, normally $45 per lead. So that's almost a 40% discount. We can't do this forever. You have until the end of January. So January 31st at midnight, it goes back to $45. Take advantage of this price while you can. I don't know what else to say. If you know Lead Heroes, if you know me, we can only do promotions and discounts like this maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So this is your chance right now to take advantage of a big discount, save money on marketing, generate more clients, and stay busy after AEP. So I have Christian Brindle with me here today, you guys. He is the owner and operator of Christian Brindle Insurance Services, CBIS, if you want to abbreviate like I do sometimes. And Christian has personally worked these turning 65 leads. His agents have worked these turning 65 leads. So I wanted to talk a little bit with him about what his opinion on these turning 65 leads, maybe see if he has some insight he can share with you guys on expectations or maybe some best practices. So Christian, again, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on a call with me today.
Anytime. I mean, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, the turning 65 lead from Lead Heroes has become one of my favorite personal leads to work, even though I don't work a ton of leads myself these days, but for my office to work, to have my office work, they're just the ROI we get on them is always good. It's always top tier. And they're always great quality. I mean, to me, I look at a lead to where somebody has actually spoken to the individual,
right,
heard from them that they're interested in having a conversation, gotten that consent verbally. That's always going to be better than something on the other end of a screen, and
right.
So I just think the quality is there, and it's it's just such a no-brainer. I mean, the prices that they're being offered at for this promotion are just stupid, and you just have to take advantage of them because they're not available, like Glenn said, all the time. So I know we'll definitely be jumping on it.
And tell me this too, Christian, when it comes to follow-up with the turning 65 prospect, obviously, we're talking about marketing to a window of the demographic. So, you might catch someone right at that right time, guys, where they're literally ready to sign up and they're able to sign up right then, or they might be a week or a month or maybe even a couple months out. So, I guess if you're talking to someone, Christian, they're not quite ready to sign up. Maybe they're not quite in that window to sign up yet. What's that look like? What's that conversation look like for you or for one of your agents?
Yeah, I think it's of course a conversation where it's really difficult, no matter what type of turning 65 person you're dealing with or where they came from, to get them to earn your trust. Or I should actually, excuse me, the other way around, for you to earn their trust, because they are getting hounded. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't think there's a client that gets more inundation of marketing materials, phone calls, television commercials, social media ads, whatever you'd want to say, than an individual turning 65. And so they've already talked to 25 of you, in the last couple of days or so.
Sure.
And depending on who you're talking to. So it's very vital that, you right off the bat in a quick manner convince them that you're the guy or the gal, that they need to be talking to. You're the one that's the most qualified to help them through this journey that they're about to go down. And you're the one that can make it easy. Very few seniors actually want to be an expert in Medicare. Too many agents.
None, right? Almost none.
Almost none. There are the engineers, and they want to be the experts.
Right.
It's like 2% of the turning 65 population. And so I feel like the biggest mistake that most agents make when they're dealing with turning 65 folks, when they know nothing about Medicare, is trying to get them to know enough to go out and sell. That's almost like how their presentation comes off as.
Totally.
And you don't need to do that. You just need to simplify it, make it easy for them to understand, make it digestible. I almost say, and I don't mean this in a degrading way, but try to make it as simple as a child could understand it.
Yeah.
And I think that is a great approach with these people. And you just need to make sure that you get your foot in the door, that you stand out above everybody else. And I think that's one of the best ways to do it, is making it easy for them. Whoever's the most convenient is going to win. We see that in all types of business, and I feel like Medicare's no different.
I was just listening to a podcast and they were talking about the average age when it comes to like the content that you're putting out there, whether it's, video form like this or written form or audio form, having that content hit kind of a lower learning level. So just like Christian talked about right there, it was surprising to me because it was even lower than I anticipated. But I think they said that the average of around fourth grade. So, if you're thinking about a fourth grader, which I actually have a fourth grader in my house right now, my son is in fourth grade. So, when I'm thinking about like explaining a topic to him, making it digestible, easy to understand, I think that's really great advice. You don't want to speak at a PhD doctorate level about Medicare. That's probably going to turn off a lot of prospects. So one final question for you, Christian. I know your time's limited and I want to respect it. Obviously, you've been in sales for a long time. If you were to have the average, after you've worked through 10 of these turning 65 leads, how many of those, and include the follow-up too, because that's, again, if you're talking to me personally, you guys, that's something that I mention every single time when I get this question, how many of these leads can I expect to close? Well, I'm not talking about first call closes here, but I'm including that follow-up process as well. So, you get 10 turning 65 leads. Some of them you're going to have to follow up for potentially a month, couple months, maybe weeks. What does that look like for you? Or maybe it'd be better to say, what would it look like for an average downline agent that you have?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I think if the follow-up is being done, like Glenn was saying, if that's being done properly, there's multiple phone calls, multiple times a day, multiple touch points, all of that. I think it's fairly reasonable to say that if you got 10 leads, it should be around two new clients. Yeah. Maybe more. It just, I would say 2 to 3 out of 10 should be good. 3 if you're really rocking it. But I think 2 was what I've always said to be industry averages. If you are doing if you're doing your part, and that is following up with the lead, making sure you're doing what you need to do as a salesperson to touch the lead. Because I think with any lead, the most important thing is talking to them, getting in a hold of them. You have no chance of selling a lead if you can't get a hold of them, right? Nowadays, more than ever, those multiple touch points are increasingly valuable. Absolutely. Because people don't answer their phone as much. Doesn't mean you can't get them to, though.
Yeah, I would, and that's, again, my answer would be very similar to, I would say probably 1 to 3 out of 10, right? So obviously, the more leads you work and the more experienced you are, you're going to see that closing percentage increase. And if you're doing more touch points, if you're leveraging technology, shout out to Eric Fierro and the DFY CRM system, which will allow you to do multiple touch points and automate a lot of that follow-up. Those are the things that can separate someone who's only closing 10% versus someone who is closing 25, 30% of their leads. One thing too, I'm going to do, you guys, that I'm thinking about right now that I have Christian on with me, is he actually has a Turning 65 presentation on his YouTube channel that he's uploaded. I'm going to make sure that this gets linked with this video. So wherever you're watching this video, whether it's on our YouTube channel, social media, look for that link to Christian's Turning 65 presentation. If you are a new agent, if you're new to maybe the Turning 65 market and you're trying to figure out, well, how do I do this? What do I say? Christian has taken the time to actually put his presentation out there to help other agents just like you who might be watching this. So Christian, again, really appreciate your time. Any final thoughts about the Turning 65 market or about Turning 65 sales that you would share with a agent or maybe an agency owner?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. And I would say my final thoughts would be just understand who you're marketing to. And that is somebody that's getting bombarded, and I'm not exaggerating.
Right. Right.
And they're being bombarded by organizations that have a far bigger budget than you ever can on a marketing budget. So
Yeah.
you have to make up for that by being consistent, persistent, and maybe a little bit relentless in your follow-up. But if you do that and you're willing to put in a little bit of elbow grease with your follow-up, you can make a ton of money. There's nothing like a true up, my friends.
Oof.
Nothing like it. Oof.
That's right. Not
It's a
to
spicy
mention,
meatball.
I love, one point I love to make is your length of renewals. If you help someone who's 75, unfortunately, you're kind of limited with how many years of renewals you're going to get on that client. At turning 65, you could potentially get every renewal that prospect has to offer, for the rest of their lives, right? I mean, you could have someone who's up till they're 90 years old, you just got 25 years of renewal payments potentially, right?
Yes.
So super valuable client to be able to get on the book. So again, Christian, I really appreciate your time. We're going to link his Turning 65 presentation video. So take a look at that if you need additional help with your presentation. Until next time, you guys, happy selling.